All right,
Oh
man.
man.
This is pretty much gone along with the way my day's gone anyway. So I mean, I was just sitting there like, I don't even know why I'm even worried about it. Hell with it. Let's just go. I mean, God, what's going on, Darren?
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night, so that means it is Kings of the Sport episode 11. As always, I'm your host Darren Williams Jr. and joining me, the West Texas hustler Michael Anderson. And Michael, we started laughing because mistake on my part. I sent everybody, you yourself, all the guests, the wrong links. We're about 10 minutes late, but hey, we're here. We're here.
Hey, we made it. And you know, it takes a long time for an email to go from California to South Taylor County. So, you know, that's just how it goes. You got to catch some wind to get over here. But yeah, man, crazy. I was sitting there staring at that screen and I was like, why does this thing say ended hour and 30? I was like, I guarantee you I'm in the old deal somewhere. And you know, did I text Sporty and I'm like, hey man, we're like, what are you looking at? Well, anyways, we're here. We're here. It's Wednesday. It's Kings of the Sport, man. We're here.
Yeah, Wednesday night, Kings of the Sport, episode 11, and we have two great guests here tonight. Michael, fill us in. Who's joining us tonight here on Kings of the Sport?
So we're going to start off with my man out of Bandimere Speedway, Dragway. Cool dude, man. Got to hang out with him at the PRI whenever I met him through Kevin Rowe. And, you know, he manages and runs the Bandimere Speedway. So, you know, he's going to come on, talk about what's going to go on with this big race coming up in a couple of weeks. I mean, I can't even believe it. Like 2 weeks we're going to be racing there, and just kind of tell you, you know, probably about what's going on with him and the family and the track. You know, probably, you know, not going to sit there and beat on that deal. Everybody kind of knows what's going on, but it's kind of cool to hear from the you know, the guy himself that's over this deal. But more importantly, talk about what's going to come on with this Night of Fire race that you know, in conjunction with Extreme Top Fuel. You know, I mean, it's going to be exciting, man. We got a pretty good lineup of cars. I'd say way better than a pretty good lineup of cars. You know, they're all badass, but good lineup of cars. Going to have some good racing. East versus West kind of deal. Going to kind of kick off. King of the Mountain, and the first time and the last time. So I mean, it's bittersweet yet fun. I know Sporty, I talked to him a little bit the other day, said that he had some really cool things kind of lined out for the race. I'll let him tell everybody about it, and I know he's excited. Mm-hmm. And then you got Jesse Adams, right?
Jesse Adams, yeah, he's back on. He was with us 2 shows ago to you know, preview the cool April drags, cool April nights, and obviously that just went down this past weekend out at Redding Motorsports Park, and so he'll be joining us to kind of recap all that. And from what I hear, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened on track, including Adam Strogan, who had a huge explosion, I believe, on Friday night. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. You know, we were watching some of that stuff. Some of the guys had stuff on there live. You know, Hall's dad was there. He had stuff there live. You know, just people. Kurt Borden, you know, of course, he's out there, you know, taking videos and stuff. But yeah, man, you know, you watch that deal, and you know, you can talk to the guys, you know, later on. You can't talk to them like right then because, you know, there's so much stuff going on. But I called Adam the next morning, you know, like, hey man, you know, you doing all right? And you know, he texted me back, yeah, and then called him and talked to him a little bit about it. And he said, he goes, man, it was probably one of the biggest ones I've been in, you know, and it's one thing to kind of see it, you know, from behind, but you know, we just talked about that deal, that the side videos of what showed up, and you know what was going on, and not only the explosion, but you know, he's racing James Day, and thank kind of goodness that James, you know, about half track, 3/4 track, he spun the tires, you know, because Adam was oiled in, fired in, you know, and Redding's a real narrow track, came kind of across, you know, got his, you know, what he was saying was whenever the fire went off, like his pupils just, you know, dilated like crazy, and then it got real dark, and he couldn't really see along with the oil, and came across the lane and kind of, you know, touched the left-hand, you know, wall a little bit, and got his bearings, got back over there. And James, you know, text James Day. I was like, what did it look like, man? He goes, dude, I was worried about my buddy. He goes, I pulled over there, got out of the car, checked on him. So, yeah, crazy stuff.
Well, you mentioned that. We actually have the video, so let's take a look at it real quick. Man,
dude.
And I've always said like Adam Sorokin, I call him like the John Force of nostalgia racing because he's had so many fires, so successful. And then man, like I want to ask him like, was that probably the worst fire you've had in your career? I would think. And so, and it just goes to show like you're two badass racers on the racetrack, Adam Sorokin, James Day. Obviously, you want to be first to the finish line, but at the end of the day, it's all about safety. And for James, you know, all he wanted to do, all he cared about was his buddy Adam and how he was doing. So I just respect that so much. But man, what a crazy weekend! And we saw some crashes in, I believe, in the no prep cars also. It was a all around crazy weekend.
I think so, man. Like, you know, I want to ask Jesse that deal. Like, you know, Hall tells me that there's a hood off of one of them cars, like stuck up in the high lines or up in a tree or something. I don't know, man. You know, that one video, whoever took that was crazy to watch because, I mean, anything can happen whenever they come over that rail. But, I mean, that car was, I mean, it was kind of like Leah Pruitt high. You know, kind of deal, man. Like shoots out, floating through the air. You know, and you know, if you look at those videos, I think it's probably lit up just a tad bit more than what the videos kind of look like. I don't know. You know, maybe that's the starting line. You know, the way the starting line looks lit up, then it kind of gets dark. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think I want to be 20 foot in the air in a car with shoots out. You know, I mean, if you look where the crowd is right there. They had to have a lot to talk about. That's all I got to say. The crowd had to have a lot to talk about after that weekend.
Nah, for sure. And thank you guys all for tuning in to episode 11 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. I'm Darren Williams Jr., along with host Michael Anderson. We're going to get John Bandimere on in just a second. Before we do that, I'm going to take a look at some comments. Gary Wheeler Jr., he's in the live chat. He says, "Evening, Darren in Hollywood." Shout out to Gary Wheeler Jr. And Drag Racing Central says, "Technical difficulties." Yes, sir. You can definitely see that. Diane says, "Hello, Darren in Hollywood." Hello, Diane. Thanks for tuning in. Doug Corey says, "Darren, what's up, Doug?" And she goes on to say, "Wow," talking about the video we just showed just a little bit ago. Jordan Froka says, "Boomers aplenty." You're definitely right about that. And then Gina says, "It's a good thing they put Adam behind the ballistic shield." Yes, sir. I cannot agree with you more. So, Cool April Drags was last weekend. We have Nitro Chaos this upcoming weekend from Edgewater. A lot of the front engine dragsters will be competing out there. And then like also we are promoting and previewing Night of Thunder and Fire, Fire and Thunder out of Bandimere Speedway in a few weeks, which you'll be competing at and a lot of other badass racers. So I think it's about that time. You ready to bring on John Bandimere, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's bring him on. I'm sure he's excited and ready to talk about this deal.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Bandimere is next.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I would say drag racing royalty. I mean, not just John Bandimere the third. Sporty Bandimere. How's it going, man?
I wouldn't go that far. I'm way down the line. No, but you know what? I am very fortunate. I've had the opportunity to be third generation and follow in the footsteps of my grandfather and my father, and I'm super proud about that. But they would be what I would call the royalty, not me.
Don't let him fool you about that. Whenever he's walking around out there on that track, he's the king. He's making it happen around there. He's making sure people are doing what they need to do. But yeah, Sporty, man, it was really cool to meet with him and come up with an idea, you know, with him and his number one guy on the side, old Kevin Rowe, and you know, for him to even consider, you know, talking with us about the idea that we had to do this was it was pretty cool, man. And I know, you know, all of us racers, the Extreme group, everybody that's involved in this is, you know, very appreciative of you, you know, putting together this race for us to, you know, to showcase these cars.
Oh, you know what? Absolutely. what an exciting year. I mean, we're celebrating 65 years of being here on the side of the mountain. And the Napa Night of Fire and Thunder has got a long history to it. It's our season opening event. Our season really starts in April, but that's the first really big event that we have of the season. And it's kind of like it wakes up summer, right? It's like the one event everybody wants to hit. They've had cabin fever. They're tired of the snow, so they're ready to get out and enjoy racing. And so it's just a super, super fun event. And then we have a really long-standing popular program that we have in the elementary schools called Race to Read. And Race to Read gives kids the incentive to go home and not sit in front of the TV, but actually pick up a book, do some reading. And if they read to a certain level, they actually earn a ticket for themselves and one of their parents to come to that event for free. So we will literally have about 4,000 kids that'll actually attend that event for free with a parent, as kind of their reward for achieving a level in reading over the last 6 weeks. So lots of fun stuff. And of course, it also grows the sport, right? I mean, we want to get those kids while they're young. And so getting them in that elementary age and showing them what this is all about is a lot of fun as well.
So, John, how long has that Race to Read program been going on?
Race to Read's been going now a little over 20 years. Ironically, it kind of started as a kind of a funny deal. My nephews were in kindergarten. They just started in a brand new school that was really close to us. In fact, it was the closest school to the racetrack. And the typical deal, right? My sisters got involved with the PTA and with their classes and that type of thing. And they have Friday folders. And so they came back and they asked me, they said, hey, would you mind if we gave a little bit of our time each week to type up information, to go in these Friday folders to help the school out? And I said, well, of course. Well, then one thing led to another. And typically schools, and I still call them librarians, that shows my age, but the LMCs at these schools, they're always looking for some kind of a program to help incentivize kids to read, especially boys, right? I mean, girls typically are a little bit more prone to sit down and read a book and that type of thing, but boys are a little bit harder. And so they were really looking for some type of a program where we thought, you know what, maybe we could tie this into racing somehow and make it really effective for the kids. And so we started it in one school. It was super successful. The next year we went to 3 schools, and then it continued to grow and grow and grow. And this year, I believe we're in about 68 different elementary schools here across the Front Range. And what's really unique about it is a lot of times when the schools do programs like that, you know, they'll get 80, maybe 90% participation. But this particular program gets really right at about 100% in almost every school. So it's unique, right? And if you remember back to when we were kids in elementary school, even if we weren't really, you know, a product of a dad who was into cars were still fascinating to us, right?
Right.
And so it's really a great hook to get these kids hooked on reading, get them hooked on cars, that kind of a thing, which is so important today in our culture. To give these kids the opportunity to not only be literate, which is super important, but also to drive them to the sport that we love, right? And that's real in racing.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, whenever I first kind of started talking with him about this deal and he brought that up, man, I was like, man, that's just a super cool deal. And I was thinking, all right, there's like 1 or 2 schools. And then you find out there's almost 70 schools involved in this. Like, you got to think about this. 4,000, you know, Masa Menace, 4,000 people show up out of an elementary school. You go to races, there ain't 4,000 people there. You know, whenever I went last year to the deal and saw, you know, and it was postponed. We had some bad weather originally, and then, you know, tied it into another deal. But, you know, they were still coming. Whenever I went there, I was looking around like, this is amazing, like how many kids are here. Like, you don't think about it until you know, like you're looking around like, man, there's a lot of kids at this race. And then you find out what's going on and you're like, okay, there, you know, it makes sense. So, you know, with what's going on, you know, and you know, I'm not going to sit there and push about this stuff, but, you know, for me, I want to, you know, understand. But with what's going on, what's your feedback from the schools been going forward? Are they like, oh my God, we're about to miss out on this program that, I mean, you're talking about 2 decades. right? Like that's an every staple deal. Like, I mean, it's like every year these kids are going to be talking about, now it's going to be like, you remember, that kind of deal. But what have you heard?
It's been really fascinating. Of course, I think the news that came out was a shock, right? I mean, it's to some degree it's a shock to us, but at the same time, in life you have to make decisions that sometimes you don't want to make, right? But you also know that it's the right decision and the timing is right. And there's a lot of factors, and I'll just touch on that real quick, so that there's a good, clear understanding. In 1988 and 89, they built a highway out in front of us. When that highway went in, we knew that our time in this location would be limited because there's development, right? Development just changes everything, whether we like it or we don't like it. It's being progressive and things change, and so we knew that was going to happen. And so as a family, we had to make a decision because they took a large portion of our property when that highway went through. And so the decision was, do we want to stay in the business? And if we do we want to stay where we're at and renovate? And unanimously, the family said, we love the business. We love what we do. We love our location. Let's renovate and stay here. So we did, and we put a 10-year plan together. And like a lot of businesses, we made it through the 10-year plan, and 5 more years had passed, and we kind of looked at each other and went, we probably ought to come up with another 5-year or 10-year plan. So we were really fortunate. And here the last 5 years, we've known that the landscape around us was going to change and would change quickly. So a lot of homes built around us. Our property, which most people don't realize, we have about 150 acres, which being on the side of a mountain, only about 109 of it is usable. So if you put that in perspective, we are really small. I mean, really in today's standards, as rigs have gotten bigger and team size and all that, 109 acres of a total piece of property for a national event type facility is really small. So everything we do becomes quite the challenge. So you take the size factor, and as things have grown, you take the fact of development across the street. There are some pieces of property that we lease from some of our neighbors for some of our big events. Those pieces of property have become under contract, which makes it difficult as we go into the future. So there's a multitude of things. And so as a family, we said, you know what, we need to be proactive as opposed to being reactive. And so we started working actually in 2019 to really say, what is the best use for this property in the future? And at the same time, what does a new facility look like, and where and when and how? And so both of those projects have been going kind of simultaneously. It's just that the one on this project moved a little bit faster. And again, it'd be really easy to go, let's not tell anybody. Let's just wait until October, and when it's the end of the season, we'll tell everybody. That's not fair, right? That's not fair to your fans. It's not fair to your racers. It's not fair to your partners. We've always tried to be as transparent as we possibly could. And so that's when, of course, the news came out. And by the way, that news came out literally just a couple of weeks after we knew that there was something pretty solid. Again, like everything in our world, it's not 100% until it's done, but there's a good chance of that. At the same time, I've been telling people, pray for us, right? You know what? If you believe in God and you believe in the power of prayer and you believe that God's got a plan, we believe that God's not done with us yet, And so we've been working really hard to look for a new piece of property to do what we do, just in a new location. And exactly what that looks like, we really don't know. In fact, I tell people, I go, we're not hung up on the fact that we have to own it or that our name has to be on it. It's just we love the sport and want to continue to be a part of the sport, and we want a place for our customers. It's kind of, we were teasing before we got on the show tonight. I told Darren, I go, if you hear some background noise, I apologize, but we actually have our midweek test and tune night tonight. 275 kids that are out there playing, so a little bit of noise. Sorry, but
it's good.
so again, my point is that it's a very emotional time. There's a lot of heritage. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of great memories. I'm so blessed that we've been able to be in this industry for as long as we have. And at the same time, I'm just praying that the right doors and the right opportunities get opened for us for the future, from the standpoint that, again, we truly love what we do. I laugh. I've never had any other job. That's sad. I mean, that's kind of sad, right? But at the same time, I grew up. You guys will laugh. My grandfather was a pioneer in the high performance industry. He had a great relationship with the guys from Chrysler and also from Chevrolet. And my grandfather was the first person to ever supercharge a small block Chevy.
I'll be damned.
And of course, as you can understand, being in Colorado and being at altitude, that's an important thing, right? And so,
absolutely,
we were the Chevy family, and everything we had was supercharged, whether it was a Roots type blower or a McCulloch supercharger or whatever it was. And the Kenz and Leslie family, which that name, the Kenz and Leslie name maybe doesn't mean as much as if I tell you BG Products.
Right.
BG Products are out of Colorado, and they were the Ford family. So they had all the flathead Fords. We had all the supercharged Chevys, and we always had some great fun rivalries between the two families, as well as just a lot of love and respect for each other. But so being third generation and having 65 years is quite the blessing from that standpoint. So these kids gotta have a place to go, right? Gotta have a place.
Gotta keep it going. Gotta keep it going.
It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if it's the Race to Read program, or it's the high school drags, or juniors or junior street. Last Friday night we had 32 kids racing our junior street program. Wow. Tonight we've got 5 new kids that are licensing for it. And the only reason I share that with you is to show you the sport is alive and well. Yeah. Right? It's alive and well, and I gauge off of those kinds of things. I gauge off of those kids. I gauge off of the junior program and the test and tune program, because those are just young men and women that just want to come and play, right? And we know we're not going to make total gearheads out of all of them, but there will be that percentage, right? And that's what we grow our sport with, and it's obviously, like I say, alive and well, and very, very thankful from that standpoint.
Awesome.
And, just going off the Race to Read program, you and your family, you guys just don't run a drag strip. You guys are also, are part of the community. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why Bandimere even, started in the first place was to get kids off the street and on the racetrack and stuff like that. So everything you guys have done for the community, I just respect that so much. But you said something very interesting. You said your family was a Chevy family. It's kind of surprising knowing the partnership of Mopar and all that type of stuff. That was surprising when you said that.
Well, here's what you got to understand. My grandfather loved the automobile. He grew up on a farm. He was always tinkering with stuff. And finally his dad said, you need to go. You need to go, because I'm tired of having to fix all the stuff that you've been tinkering with to try to soup it up here on the farm. But my grandfather really just loved the automobile. It didn't matter what brand it was. It could have been a Ford, a Chrysler, a Chevy. It really didn't matter. He actually manufactured parts for both Chevrolet and for Chrysler, though. Those were 2 manufacturers that he had a really great relationship with. Built a lot of cars that raced Pikes Peak Hill Climb, drag raced, oval track racing, that type of thing. And so there's always been a strong connection to I still call it the Chrysler Corporation, even now that it's Stellantis. And so 35 years ago, when Mopar became our national event sponsor, that was just it was just like hand in glove, right? My dad today drives a Demon, and he's 85 years old, and he races his Demon every chance he can. I mean, he was out here last weekend racing Saturday and Sunday in 3 different classes, and just in fact, he had his hip replaced 8 weeks ago, and he's like, "Yep, I'm signed off. I'm good to race." So,
oh my God. Ain't nothing like having a 800 horsepower car with air conditioning and a warranty. That's a hell of a race car right there.
and you got to meet my dad, right? Because he is the most competitive person ever. And but again, he loves people. So he loves to be out here, and he loves to be with all the other racers and just having fun. And so a lot of really great, strong ties to Dodge. Chevrolet, I mean, let's be honest. We all know the sport, right? I mean, those GM motors, it was easy and more affordable to make horsepower, right? Today, I mean, it's easier to get parts and, yada, 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 right? In fact, just the fact that Chevrolet's putting almost $1 billion into to the small block again, right? I mean, during a time where everybody's kind of turning EV, I mean, you got to take your hat off to them and go, thank you, right? Thank you for doing what is the right thing to do. But yeah, a lot of, in fact, I have the same car that I bought when I was 15 years old. I bought a 1955 Chevrolet two-door hardtop Bel Air because, again, I grew up with a lot of classic Chevys. And what's interesting about that car is I have a supercharger on that car that my grandfather had on a 55 Chevrolet at the first national event that NHRA ever had, which was in 1955 in Great Bend, Kansas.
Wow.
I still have that. I have that on my 55. And that just gives me a great heritage to be able to still have, from that standpoint. And so, once a car guy, always a car guy. You just don't get it out of your blood.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
I just got to say, 65 years running this racetrack. Thank you for everything you and your family have done for the sport of drag racing. I wasn't even born yet, but one of my favorite Mile High Nationals memories just comes to mind right now is 1990. I wasn't even thought of, but it was a Motto and Bernstein in the final. I think it was like a Monday night. It rained, and Steve Evans, they take off. They're on board with Bernstein. He goes, "Where's the Motto?" There's a Motto on TV, and I just love that. So it's just so many great memories from Bandimere, and so just thank you for everything you and your family have done. It's just a great racetrack.
Well, hey, you don't have to thank me. It's been a privilege. I mean, it's been an honor to be able to be a part of the industry and just enjoy the people, enjoy the camaraderie, everything that comes along with that. And it's so funny, Darren, that you would mention that national event, because I was asked last week, what's my one national event that I have the fondest memories of? That's it.
That one? Okay.
because we ran on Monday night. It was kind of like we built it as Monday Night Football kind of thing,
And a packed house too.
And it was. We had horrible rain. It was horrific. We were supposed to kick off at like 6 o'clock with eliminations on that Monday night. And actually another storm came across the north end of the property, just missed us. And we were able to run the event, and it was wall to wall. So it was, memories, right?
John, what you got to understand is Darren is a funny car guru of the 90s, and he wasn't even born yet. He knows all the races. We'll be talking along there, and he'll just be like, "Well, at that race, this is what happened." I'm like, "What are you doing with your time?"
And I'm like, "Oh my."
That's great. Hey, and we got to thank you for throwing that out there to our fans. What's going on with your stuff, and it's always good to hear from the horse's mouth about what's happening. That nobody can say anything, right? Because you done said it. Now, outside of that, let's talk about this big bad race we're about to have in 2 weeks, man. So, what are you thinking? So, you kind of told me that coming into this deal, you got a few things lined out that might not have been there before or whatever, and so some fun stuff for the fans, and just coming into it. How are y'all feeling about the race?
You know what? We're feeling awesome about the race. Again, we have such a great fan support network here in Colorado. I'll be honest with you. If we are blessed with the kind of weather that it looks like we're going to have here in a couple of weeks, this will be a national event type crowd. In fact, a lot of times people always refer to the national event because it is a big event. It's 3 big crazy days. But the reality of it is from a single day crowd standpoint, this will be the largest event that we have all year. This and our Jet Car Nationals on July 1st. So it'll be wall to wall, lots of people, lots of fun. Obviously, the Extreme Top Fuel cars are going to be such a great addition this year, with it being the 65th anniversary, and super excited that it's not just an exhibition; it's a race. I mean, it's like, hey, let's strap it on and get down on it. And that's what fans love, right? Is when everybody's laying it on the line. And these drivers do just that, right? I mean, you were just talking about the event they had in Redding. And again, it's when they go to race, right? There's a lot of pride involved in it. And we all have a little bit of ego, right? So that's okay too. But so that'll be super exciting. The other side of it is we have a really great contingent of sportsman racers that'll be competing in. We call it the Fast 16 and Quick 16, but it's like Top Dragster and Top Sportsman. And here on the mountain, we may be a little thin on air, but we are not short on track prep and being able to make compensation to get these cars down the racetrack fast. So while Top Dragster and Top Sportsman has they can't go faster than 610, we still run under the ET rules where they can go 6 flat, and we will have several cars in our Fast 16 that can go 6 flat. So super exciting classes to watch, as well as all of our MagnaFuel Super Series classes that'll be competing that night. That is also Armed Forces Day. So we're going to be honoring several veterans during that event. So we've got a skydiving team that'll be part of our pre-race ceremonies, as well as there was about 28 veterans that lost their homes up in the Boulder County area in some fires that you probably heard about on the news not too long ago. And those veterans, when they lost their homes, they also lost their flags. And so we're going to have the Foothills Young Marines with us, and they will actually present all of those veterans with new flags. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, a fun thing. I'm as a family, we're very God country, Constitution, patriotic, that kind of a thing, and we want to make sure that those veterans get what they deserve. And so with it being Armed Forces Day, we're gonna do some really fun stuff. And Napa Auto Parts, they're just, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better sponsor. They support everything we do. They bring a lot to the table in supporting the veterans and the armed forces. And so we're super proud to be able to have that sponsorship and partnership with them for all these years.
This just feels like all out, just like it has that American feel. You talk about in the middle of the country, frontage and top field dragster, supporting our veterans at nighttime. I mean, it just seems like the perfect event. I can't wait for it. And you guys hang your hat on racing at night as well. That's what I love. So what time does elimination kick off? Like 7, right? 7 p.m.
Yep. 7 o'clock. We will actually make a couple qualifying passes Friday night. As well as our sportsman guys will get some testing and tuning in Friday night, actually late afternoon and evening. And then we'll do one more qualifier early in the day on Saturday. And then show will actually start at 7 o'clock. So I tell people, make sure you're here by 5 o'clock. You have plenty of time to go up, see the cars, get pictures, get autographs, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be stuck out in traffic, that kind of thing. Because when 7 o'clock hits, we're lighting them up and letting them rip.
I mean, this is what's going to be awesome, man. Like, it's under the lights, man. Like, it's at night. I mean, it ain't going to be nothing but header flames and burnt eyeballs and nostrils once we get done with this. Like, I'm excited about it. And what's crazy, like last year, whenever I went, it was my first time to go to the track. And so, right there, man. I love that picture. It's a cool, that's a couple of Chevrolets right there, a couple of dump truck motors. But, you get up there and you really don't know what racing in 9,000 feet's like until you fire your car up and it ain't nothing but fuel coming out of the damn thing. And you're like, what is going on? But yeah, man, I mean, I'm excited about this race, not only, with what's going on there, but, as we go along, every time I talk with you, there's some kind of little added deal there, just to make this thing, exactly what it is. And for us guys racing at this level, this is our national event. This is going to a national event. I mean, with all the people that are going to be there, the way that it's laid out, I mean, we're super pumped about being there. Everybody that I've talked with, what's really cool, and I talked to Darren a little bit about this and y'all too, is, it's a big East versus West deal. I mean, it's about a 50-50, show up on what's going on the King of the Mountain right there. And I'm stuck in the middle, I'll go with the winning team. I'll just ride whichever way, But no, it's or I can just be my own self. We'll call me the Dirty South or something like that. How about that?
Be a leader. No, be a follower. Let's be.
That's right. That's right. But no, I mean, we're excited. I've been, my wife can attest to this, but I've been working on my car like crazy trying to get this thing ready to get to this dang race. And Darren called me like at 7:15. Hey man, what are you doing? I'm down here working on this car. Are you good? Yeah, but I'll be up at the house. Don't worry. So everybody's like that. I've talked to all the teams, and they're all super pumped, man. Most of them, it's going to be their first time to race there too. So it's all the way around. Just going to be a fun deal.
It'll be a lot of fun. And I have to brag a little bit. I've got a brother-in-law, Larry, that handles all of our facility operations and track prep. And as you guys probably know, we build a lot of track prep equipment that we ship all over the world. And Larry takes that responsibility really, really seriously. And so, you know what, he always makes sure that track is in tip-top shape. And so at least you can't use that as an excuse, Michael.
That's right. That's right. I mean, top fuel drivers like barrel racers. Everybody's got an excuse. I guarantee you. Something ain't right. Dirt ain't right. Track ain't right. Whatever. No, I think it's going to be some good laid down drag racing there with everybody that's coming. And Kyle Huff. I mean, he's coming with his new car. Like right there. I mean, there you go. I mean, he fired it up on Sunday, and he's like, I texted him. I was like, "You're in. Let's go."
Awesome.
He goes, "We're going to break it out there for the first time." I was like, "Boy, it's going to be hellaciously fun."
Well, and hey, you know what? He's on. So hey, thank you. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to be kind of the debut track. I mean, we're excited. I heard that just a couple days ago, and so that's exciting. We're super thankful for that.
And then what did Van Horn say or his brother Craig said that they're going to bring root beer suckers for everybody? They own some A&W root beer, stores. Yeah. Yeah. It's great family, man. Great family right there. Yeah. He's coming out of California, Sean Van Horn and them. And man, they're excited. Like he was putting it out there today. Hey, we're rolling out in 2 weeks.
So Michael, fill us in on everybody who will be showing up at Denver.
So we've got Jim Young, we got Jim Murphy, got me, Sean Van Horn, Kyle, Sean Bowen. I got to sit here and go through it. Mike Taylor, Tim Cullinan, and Dusty Green's about a 75-25. And I'm giving him hell because he's got the track record deal. Like if he's watching. And there's a good chance he's watching this. They'll get the car ready. I keep poking at him like, come on. So, and his car's ready.
Dusty, I mean, come on, Dusty. If you got the track record, you kind of got to defend that for the last time on the mountain. So
that's what I was saying. I was like, man, come on.
He's gonna.
He was like, I got like Steve Harwood's kind of crew from back in the day. Maybe he's not. So I hope he surprises us and just shows up. How about that? No, but great. It's going to be some good racing, man. And I'm going to tell you right now that come hell or high water, me and Jim Murphy are lining up together. It's happening. I've never lined up against him, and I'm like, it's happening at this race.
That's awesome.
Is that a call out, Michael, here on Kings of the Sport?
That's an absolute call out right there. 110%.
That's funny.
You heard it right here. Michael Anderson calls out Jim Murphy out at Napa Auto Parts, Fire and Thunder. Let's see it happen. I'm ready.
Let's see it happen.
Michael, regardless of whether we're racing or not, we're going to have a big party, so it's going to be lots of fun.
Absolutely.
For sure. Any final thoughts, Michael?
Oh man, just excited. I'm excited and looking forward to seeing John again and the whole. Are you going to break out the jet car or not the jet car? What is there jet cars, right?
Yep. We're gonna have 4 jets here, and so I'll get a chance to go play just a little bit in between work. But we're gonna have fun. Did you know he has the jet? He raced the jet car, Darren? I thought you did. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I haven't ever raced a jet car. Maybe we can trade.
Hey, we'll square off.
There you go.
There's a call out. There you go.
That's a call out right there. I'm gonna have to get in Sorokin's car with the shit. No, man, I'm just excited. I know we're ready to make it happen, and we'll definitely be there. And if I'm not going to jinx us, but if the weather's within 5 degrees of what it says it is, it's going to be one killer race, man.
It's going to be awesome.
Did it really snow there last year?
It not only snowed, it snowed like 12 inches.
Wow. In May?
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, so here's the funny part about that. Typically, I'm the guy, I don't call a race until the day of, right? Because in Colorado, the weather can change every 10 minutes. So I'm like waiting until the last minute. Well, they start giving weather reports on Wednesday saying that this storm's going to be heavy. We could get 10, 12 inches of snow. And it never changes. The weather report never changes. So finally, we're like, cut it, right? And it did. It literally snowed like almost 12 inches of snow. I mean, it broke trees. I mean, it was a disaster.
Wow.
I was packed up in the trailer, right, to go to it. Like I'm sitting there, like I want to go, and then I'm looking at it. So then I called my nephew up in Bell, and I'm like, "Hey, man, what's the weather like up there?" And he's like, "It is snowing its ass off." I'm like, "I gotta call somebody," because it's coming that way. But it was cool. But the other event was awesome. They put the deal together there.
It was. We were fortunate we could move things off to another event we had in August. So that was the good part of it. But May is where this event belongs. It's a great weekend for it. And that snow was a one-off deal, right? We're ready for some nice weather. Actually, right now it's actually as picture perfect as you could ask for right now.
Awesome.
Our weekends have been great, so we're super thankful.
Outstanding. Well, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. Darren, you got anything else? Or
no, that's it. Hoping for some great weather, some great racing, some nitro. And John, thank you for taking the time out of your, I know, busy schedule to come on our show. And I won't be able to make it for Night of Thunder, but I will see you at the final Mile High Nationals for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. I sure appreciate you giving me the time.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
Thank you. Take care.
Man, how cool is that to have John Bandimere III here on Kings of the Sport, man? We coming on up. We coming up.
Oh, it's super cool. Talking with Kevin Rowe, which I have a lot of discussions with, kind of going into this race deal, and then he talks with Sporty, but Sporty every time, man. Anytime I've ever hey man, what he's on it. Plus, I think he's got a daughter that lives down here south by San Antonio or something like that. So we're always talking about Texas and what's going on. But yeah, man, great dude. Whenever I met him at the PRI, he was super excited, busy as hell because, everybody's like this. And then we're sitting over by the NHRA booth and stuff like that. People were trying to walk up, but then they'd see we're having a serious conversation and then have to walk off. But no, it's great, man. And I'm, it's bittersweet, I guess you could say. I'm glad it happened this year and what's going on. I wish it could, definitely continue on. But, whenever you get there, you'll see. Because my question the first time I pulled up there was I'm looking around and I'm like, I can't even believe this track's right here. Yeah. But it was there before everything else. But I'm talking about it's solid houses. You look out across the deal, there's the highway and there's solid houses out there. And man, it's just part of it. Houston was the same way. Baytown, there used to be nothing out there but rice paddy fields and a drag strip, And then all of a sudden now everything's worth $40,000 an acre. And I'm like, hell, you drive around and get stuck out there, 25 years ago. I'll tell you a funny story about that. In 1994, right, I went to the race. Uh-huh. And I'm there. I had never been to a big race or anything like that. So I'm walking around kind of looking at stuff. I walk into Kenny Bernstein's pit, just walk in. It wasn't so, walled off back then. So I just walk by the car. I'm looking at the car, walking up and down the car, looking at the trailer. This dude comes out what the hell are you doing? I was like, I'm just checking out y'all's stuff. He goes, you can't be in here. I was like, well, I already made it. So then he kind of showed me around. He goes, now you got to go. So, it was a good time, though.
Hey, 94. The fact that do you know that was the race where Warren Johnson and Scott Jeffreyon had that badass burn down in the Pro Stock final?
Yeah, they just sat there everybody was just sitting there I remember it, but yeah, I was but yeah, it was crazy, man.
Don Perdome beat Scott Collette in the top field final. That was a pretty good final with the sun setting. Like that was a great year of Houston '94. You went to a great race.
You're strong with you. I'm telling you right now, we're gonna have to get you a life. You're gonna have to get outside of this, man. Like you're like a dictionary of '90s drag racing. No, it's cool, man. It was fun. I remember it. I think Eddie Hill was there too, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I remember standing next to them, and then there was something else crazy that happened. God dang, dude, that was a long time ago. That was the year I graduated high school. You know how long? Look at all this gray hair now.
I wasn't even born yet. '94. I was born in '94, but not like November '94. So
there you go. Well, cool. Well, what do we got next? We'll take it.
Well, we got Jesse Adams in the green room. Bring him on next to recap cool April drags, cool April nights that went down this past weekend. But before we do that, though, we got some comments to look at. We got a lot of people commenting. So thanks to everybody who's tuning in tonight to episode 11 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. Let's see where we want to start off first. Sean Van Horn says, racing for a case of Coors out of Denver. So I like that right there. Rick McGee says, Michael Anderson, kind of ballsy for a brand new combination. Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, that is.
I'm going to tell you right now that it is what it is. I think all I've ever had was a brand new combination. I ain't never even got to have an old combination.
Kurt Borden says, Jim Murphy will be ready for you, Michael. Jim is a well-oiled team.
That ain't no doubt.
Aviana says, is this at Redding? So no, this will actually be at Bandimere Speedway in a couple weeks. Napa Auto Parts, Night of Fire and Thunder. I keep saying Thunder and Fire, but it's Fire and Thunder. So that's the right name. And also, Dusty Green, please make it out to Denver. You know why I want Dusty Green to be in Denver. You already know why I want Dusty Green out there because, it's simple as that. You already know.
Did you see he had the whole harem out there on Lake Havasu? I mean, he's out there in his boat driving around like, and that's, I think that what he told me was the biggest thing is he doesn't want to drive 20, 21 hours by himself. I told him, I was like, boy, it looks like you need some time by yourself. Just go ahead and drive. You'll be all right.
I saw that on Facebook too. That was that was pretty nice. I saw that. Yeah. Oh, we got another call out. Kyle Huff. I'm calling out Van Horn, the two Rickies off the trailer. Another call out. I like it.
There you go, man. There you go.
All right. I think that's about it. Ready to get on Jesse Adams, man?
Yeah, let me say one thing though. Gary Wheeler I think they're rolling out tomorrow. Good luck to those guys going to Nitro Chaos. Joseph Gallegos, he's already there. I saw some pictures. He's already got his car out. Trailer was unloaded, man. Good luck to that fella. I texted him some good messages today, still talking smack to the 24-year-old. But good luck to those guys, man. It's exciting to get out there and get those cars running.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Adams is next. Hey, Michael, this is probably like the quickest turnaround for our guest on the show. We just had him on maybe like 2 shows ago. Now he's back. Jesse, how's it going, man?
I'm back. It's going good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Happy to have you back, man. And so, obviously, like we all know, Cool April Drags, Cool April Nights was this past weekend out at Redding Motorsports Park. First off, just kind of tell us, how you think it went in your mind, just an assessment overall, and just give us like a quick event recap.
Well, I'm just going to put it all out there as bottom line is what it is. Brian Hall did a great job of getting the 4 dragsters we asked him to get. And Cecil Matthews with James Day driving was the only funny car that could show up. The hard part is next weekend is a heritage race, the Igniter up in Boise, Idaho. So a lot of funny cars are dedicated to going there. So we couldn't get them to go back-to-back weekends. You guys know what it's like. It's really hard to run back-to-back anyway, let alone with a nitro car. So we didn't have as many cars as we kind of hoped to have. And then in the end, that was a bit of a blessing, to be honest, because it was a good event. The spectators, the crowd, everything was amazing, but we struggled a bit. We had some traction issues, which weren't really bad. On Friday, they were good. I know James Day, he went, he told me it ate up the clutch early, but the 330 and the 660 numbers was putting them in the 550s like they were at Bakersfield. So the funny car was flying, and Sorokin, man, he put on a show for the crowd. The small block dropped a valve out there, and nobody's seen an explosion like that in Redding probably since the 60s. He went 1,000 feet and dropped the valve, and it lit up the sky not once but twice. It was like a small pop and then a boom. It looked like, I don't know, we'll talk about drag racing in the 80s. Remember Diamond P Sports Decade of Thrills? Remember when Dwight Salisbury lit up the sky? That's what Adam looked like. You know, that right at that moment, he's glad he had a capsule on him. But I hate to see them guys tear up parts, but they put on a show and the crowd just went absolutely insane. But so Friday night qualifying, everybody made one pass. West Coast Outlaws, all of our bracket categories, our index categories, all that went really well. The nitro cars, all 6 of them went down. We had Brian Hall there, Jim Murphy, Ken Bates with the injected dragster, Greg Kramer, Adam Sorokin, and James Day. Every one of them made it to at least 400 feet. 4 of them made it to 1,000 foot. That's all we wanted to run was 1,000 foot. No reason to push the limit on a race that's just really for the fans. We want to put on eventually, maybe someday, a hardcore ladder. But right now, it's for the fans, you know. But most of our struggles had to do with the fact that there was so many fans. California has gotten more rain in the last 3 months than we've gotten the last 3 years, right? So everything's in full bloom. It's crazy, like the wheat field and the airport next door, the flowers, the trees, everything. So the pollen is insane. You go to bed at night after racing all day, the track's still black. You wake up in the morning, the racetrack's yellow with pollen. So, you know, we clean it, and for some reason that pollen and that dust doesn't land so much during the day. But once the lights come on, it starts really messing with the racetrack, and it's just a fine dust. You can take a traction torque wrench out. It was still pulling 260 at the 8th mile, but you could wipe your hand across the surface of the racetrack and you could move that pollen and dust around. So
Wow.
The event was good. Friday night, they ran good. Even Saturday night, the nitro cars for the most part ran good. Brian struck the tires right away, but I know James still went 1 flat to 60. Murphy went down pretty good. Sorokin went down. Everybody went down good on Saturday as well in the nitro cars. But where we got behind schedule was we wrecked a couple of West Coast Outlaws. And I don't want to add insult to injury or point the finger at anybody, but, you know, drivers could have helped us out a lot on those 2 accidents we had. But, you know, they're feeling bad enough as it is. They tore up some equipment. We had one of them, man, over the guardrail. No telling how bad it would have been if the old Armco was still the guardrail you hit. You know what I mean? But we put K-rail in. He scrubbed the K-rail. It got him kind of keeping going in a straight line, and he came down outside of it. And nobody was injured. One of the West Coast Outlaws, he's got a couple cracked ribs and some stuff going on, but no major injuries. Everybody, safety guys, you know, it's funny. I'm gonna call them out right now. I hope they're watching because I just love to be right, and he hates to be wrong. We got this guy, Nick Kennerson, that usually runs our red line at the staging lanes. And I told him, I said, Nick, I'm going to pull you off the red line and put you down a safety truck this weekend. He's like, why? I said, I just want to be able to control the flow of the race a little bit more. I need to be up here to control a handful of things. And I need someone that can rip a door off a car. Like if something happens, and he's a Marine, he's a big guy, he's a bulldog, right? If something happens, I need someone to get in there right away and be able to rip a car apart, get a driver out. I'm not kidding. That one accident we had, he was over the wall and ripped the door off with like one hand to help Art get out of there. Afterwards, I said, "What'd I tell you?" And he's like, "I hate it when you're right." The safety crew got a little bit of work done this weekend, probably more work this weekend than all of last year. But you know, we planned for stuff like that. When we built the track the way it is now, we put a burnout pit, like an Australian style burnout pit between the grandstands and the left lane of the racetrack. So I bring in this professional drift crew called the Dirty 530. And we got downtime and we're cleaning up because this, unfortunately, during that first crash in the right lane, the guy in the left lane put a hole in an oil pan or oil lines come off, and he puts 12 quarts oil on the racetrack in the left lane while the guy's crashing in the right lane.
It's like the worst nightmare ever of a guy putting on a race.
It was so difficult. And the crew, they worked their butts off all night long. Kristen and Courtney, they jumped in and took care of people that needed to be taken care of. Nick was on Sorokin like that when that fire happened. But as we're down cleaning the racetrack, we put these drift guys in the pit. There's more cell phones out when drift guys are running in the pit than when the nitro cars are going down the track. It don't make any sense to me, but it's entertainment. We try to have consistent, continuous entertainment while we're dealing with these other situations, and I talked to Weston Nichols. I was going to have Weston come down from Boise, great track prep guy. He was going to come down, and then we end up having our 3 normal track prep guys committed, and one of them had a health problem come up like the day before our race, and we were a little shorthanded. I mean, like I said, I'm going to just put it out there. Honestly, we're a little shorthanded on track prep, and Cole, he helps out a bunch out there, and he's learning, and he's doing his absolute best. And Friday was really good. I don't know what changed on Saturday. I just don't know. I think what it might have been was simply 5,000 or 6,000. We had almost 6,000 people on the property, and Redding Dragstrip is a small property, right? And a lot of it is about 3,000 people worth of grandstands, and then another 1,000 people worth of tailgating, where they back their trucks up next to the racetrack on both sides, and it's just truck after truck after truck after truck, and people are barbecuing and having a good time, but they kick up a lot of that red clay dust up in Redding. So while it wasn't the perfect event, it was fun. The atmosphere was great. It went really well while we didn't have a couple watered up cars, but we learned a lot, and that's the most important part. More grandstands next year, less foot traffic, less tailgating, and next year it's going to be awesome too.
So I had to talk with Hall after, talking with him during it, and, even all the other guys, just kind of going on with, hey, how's it going? Because I'm not there. I'm like, I want to know what's going on and stuff, man, because I wanted to be racing with everybody. And it was pretty amazing to hear Hall describe how many people were at that race. Just like trying to go get a hamburger or go to the restroom or actually just walk around, the track of, what was going on. And he said that, he stopped, he just stopped. And he goes, man, I hadn't really ever gone over this one area. Right. So he goes over there and he goes, Michael, what was really cool was it was like a lot of 20 to 30-year-old people over there just having a good time, enjoying drag racing, in whichever facet that they liked. He goes, you kind of miss that whenever we're doing our cars because we're over there, always wrenching on something or whatever. But he goes, I had time to go and see what was going on. And he goes, the event of how many people are there is amazing. He goes, once it gets dialed in and stuff like that, or what, he goes, man, it's going to be killer. And then talking to Sorokin, he got, outside of the, me just checking on to make sure he's all right and everything. He goes, man, the starting line is crazy. He goes, it's like some stuff you see on TV. He goes, we're pulling up in these fuel cars, man, and people are just like, whoa. I was like, I bet they're like this until it fires up. And then they're so it was cool to kind of hear the guys talk about stuff and what was what.
And we're trying to, the layout of the facility makes that difficult as well. So in the afternoon, in the hot part of the day, where our equipment sheds are, the sun's to the west, so they cast a shadow right behind the water boxes. And in Redding, everybody just is always searching for shade. So I'm going to have to do something to close those off. I'm going to have to put fences with slats in it, because otherwise people just stand inside the fence. But we're going to make a bunch of improvements to kind of keep the starting line a little more clear. And in the Burnout pit, we had 1,000 people inside the Burnout pit standing up next to the racetrack. And the hardest part is they start getting to a point where they don't want to listen, and they're getting right up on the K-rail. And it goes about 160 feet past the stage beams. So they're right up on the racetrack. And the atmosphere of it and having all those people there is a blast. But at some point, it becomes a safety concern. So we end up clearing that out, putting them in the grandstands, and the grandstands just can't quite hold all those people. So we do have enough grandstands to put about 2,500, 3,000 more seats in for next year. I know we're going to be buying some more. we never quit. That's kind of the bottom line here is we're going to keep improving, keep making it better. And for the handful of people that were unhappy with all the people standing there, I mean, there was thousands that had a blast and dozens that might have had some complaints. We do the absolute best we can and try to put on a show.
No bikini contest?
No, not at this one. If we do that again, that'll be at the Fox Hunt.
I'm joking.
What the hell? That's all Darren's been waiting on to see who the winner of the bikini contest was, man. That's all there is to it. Been sitting around for a whole month waiting on this.
No, that's historical. That's a historic deal. That has to happen at the Fox Hunt. You know what I mean?
That's it. So, is it true, like, the line coming to the strip was, like, huge, like going down the highway? Just a ton of folks coming in and that, some people were saying like maybe the fire marshal had to come in and shut it down because there were so many people coming to the place.
So we got a field on the east side of the property that we put in. That's where our free parking is right now. Last year on Friday, we pushed all those cars in the field, and that field goes down to like the quarter mile. And there's actually a spot in that field for about 400 feet. That's only about 150 feet off the racetrack. So what we learned last year on Friday night was we shoved all of them in there and we wanted them to pay as they walk in. We put turnstiles in and we get them to pay as they walk in. Well, we'd have people tailgating against that fence. They just drive in and park their trucks and be watching the race cars all night long and not paying. And then they started cutting holes in the fence. So we said, okay, we got to collect money at the gate on Saturday last year. We're collecting money at the gate, like 8 people going as fast as they can. And the line outside the place was 2 miles long. My sister left the racetrack last year and sent me a video, and she says there's people parking on the side of the road walking across fields to walk in the gate from over a mile away. I mean, that's what it's like. And when the car show and the cruise in Redding ends, then everybody comes to the drag strip. Like Caleb just said, line was still out the gate at 10 p.m. both nights. So this year we cut that field in half. We shoved everybody in that field first. We used the float, so everybody had scans. Most people had scan stuff. They could just walk right through our gates. We had people scanning, boom, boom, boom. It was way, way, way better than last year. So that's another one of those things. Last year was probably one of the larger Cool April drags ever. This year had to be bigger. And the parking situation and getting people in went way smoother. So like I say, we're not closed-minded here. It's a small town. It's a small town vibe. People remember what they don't like. You can go to a big town racetrack, you can piss off 100 people, 1,000 people, and not even notice. In Redding, you can piss off a few dozen, and you're going to hear about it, right? So the word's going to get all around town. But I was shocked. We didn't have very many negative messages or emails. Like everybody was pretty happy. Especially, I think what really helped was when we did clear the drift pit and get all those people standing there out of the way of the people in the grandstands. The crowd roared. And after that, I think everybody kind of chilled out and it was good again,
Awesome.
And you guys are obviously, you're packing the house, a lot of great renovations and upgrades to the racetrack. Great facility. Like you said, somebody mentioned about the great food, the great burgers there. And I think I asked you this on last show, but is the goal to one day make this a track where you can hold an official Heritage Series race, bring the top field cars, the funny cars, the field altereds, and actually have a points race there?
Well, we had one scheduled in April with the Group 1 and 2 cars, everything but the nitro cars. A-fuel cars are coming too, and it rained. So that's moved into June. So we've got a heritage race, just not with fuel cars. I think the thing we'll have to do first, and we've already kind of submitted some ideas to the county, to the airport, is there's another road we want to use where we're going to put a bunch more asphalt in. If we put some more asphalt, we need, in order to do a full-on like nitro style heritage race, we will need we need to hold another 100 rigs. I mean, I personally parked just about every race car on the property last weekend, and there wasn't a spot left. You couldn't put a motorcycle between trailers. I mean, for the guys that were there and saw and know that I try to treat everybody as best I can. And, some people, when they get to parking, they're like, yeah, just go find a spot over there. But racers do this week in and week out, and they don't know how to park. They just don't. So I got to walk over and tell them, like, you need to be right here. You need to be right here. I have them packed in like sardines, but it all went well. I mean, we had I took some advice from our bracket guys and our index guys last year. It got to be pretty late, and they were only in like first or second round. So this year we started early. We got 3 or 4 rounds done. The flow was going just so well. It was perfect flow. We knew we were going to get to where if everybody got down smooth and good, we're going to be finishing up around midnight, 12:15 or so. And then right around just, I don't know, about an hour before sundown, we had that first wreck. And that put us down, the wreck and the oil down all at the same time. That put us behind about 2 hours. And then we had another one, cleaned that all up, sent the bracket cars down, prepped it all up. Track was good. And the next pair out of fast cars, the guy in the right lane blasts on down. It's a no-time class. I know what he ran, but he was a low 4-second, 8th mile door car, and he blasted right down the middle of the racetrack. And the guy in the left lane, he was kind of going towards the center line from the beginning and just didn't want to lose. He just got caught in the moment. That's all it was. And then it kind of made a move towards the wall. And he steered good, and he basically was coming at an angle like this towards the wall, and he steered it just right and flat slapped it real hard. It came off, and that put us another hour, probably about an hour, 15 minutes down. By that time, we're over 3 hours behind schedule, and the dust and the pollen and the track, we just couldn't keep the track tight. So we sent the nitro cars down. It was good. We prepped really well for them. They got down. Then we ended up finishing the show a little bit early. We had an index car have a little incident. And so we're like, look, we're going to call this for now. The fans, I think they got a pretty good show. They got the nitro cars. They got to see some wrecks with no injuries. They got to see just about everything you can send down the racetrack at least that night. And we called it off for the night. We got to see the drift cars. They were out there with the Dirty 530. And so I'm hoping the crowd mostly all got what they paid for. And then Sunday, anybody who was there on Saturday was allowed to come on Sunday. We finished the event on Sunday.
Awesome. I want to ask a serious question right here. How many hot dogs did y'all sell?
I don't even know. Okay. Next to the left lane is the Burnout pit. Next to the Burnout pit is a fence. And that fence runs from the back of the staging lanes to the quarter mile. I try not to put myself and have any interest in anything east of that fence while we're racing. I care about operations, and that's it. I would like to ask the Williams family, Patrick and Jennifer, I would like to ask them how many Jeans burgers we sold, because
there you go.
Hot dogs aren't the
oh, that's not it? Okay, it's the cheeseburger.
Other thing is the Jeans burgers out there. So
there you go.
They had to sell a couple thousand of them.
Oh my gosh.
And beer. Last year we did 23 kegs of beer in 2 nights. We had to be right up there this weekend too.
The guys just talk, for me, I love to hear about the fan situation, man. Like track stuff, it happens, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But man, whenever you hear of a track, and that seems to be like a really big talking point right now, starting off with what happened in Gainesville, like that just set off some stuff, man. Like, then you have the March meet and everything else that's going on. Then all of a sudden, boom, all these tracks are having this huge sellout races, man. It's just really cool to see. And I think that the more that we talk about it and get it out there, the more people are going to want to participate. Like, hey man, what's going on? What am I missing? What's shaking out there? Timing can be some of the stuff, but if they know it's a cool event, there's all this stuff that's going to happen. I mean, the Dylan Bandimere is the same way. You don't think it's going to be all these people, and you show up and it's like, oh my God, like, I showed up and I'm like, holy cow, look at all these folks. Like, that was the one continuous thing with everybody I talked to about your race, was how many folks showed up to that deal. And you can hear them in the videos, man. Like whenever something would happen,
oh yeah,
like they'd just be like, oh, and racetracks are loud, man.
I see Adams on here watching. Did you see Adams' explosion from the left lane from the crowd?
Every one of them. I watched every single video, man. Yeah, it was crazy to hear everybody.
And so the other cool thing, I know we talked about this before, and Adam's seen it, but when you get to about 1,200 foot coming down the return road, that's that fence that I don't like to deal with anything east of that fence. I'm going to stay to the west of it. That's where the tailgating starts, and thousands of people just on that fence line reaching over, wanting a high five from 1,200 foot all the way back to the Burnout boxes is lined with people nonstop. And yeah, it's cool. A really cool environment.
That's crazy. What Adam said, it was like a small Hiroshima. I was like, God dang, man. Because Kurt, like messaged me, hey, Adam had a pretty good explosion. I was like, how good of, what's a pretty good one? Because, we've all seen a few videos. And he goes, no, like, it was a big one. And first thing in the morning, man, I'm like, hey, man, you doing all right? He goes, I got a little headache. So, yeah, that's crazy. And I'm sure for those folks down there, tailgating and everything, whenever you come by and you see that, I mean, can you imagine what, like, you're 8 to 10 beers deep and all of a sudden this thing just blows up in front of your face, man. And you're like, oh my God.
Well, and it's one of the things when a nitro car kicks the rods out or whatever, yeah, it can put a little bit of fire, a little bit of flame and some oil and whatever. But when they drop a valve like that and knock the intake manifold off, it's boom. You can hear even in that video right there, even on low quality, you can hear how big of a concussion that was. I wish, there's no telling. I'd love to talk to the air traffic controllers over at the airport, because where he blew up was directly east of the control tower. If they're watching over the runways, I can't imagine what they might have thought just happened when Adam blew that sucker up. They're up there all night long.
Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's cool. You like you said, you can sit there and kick a dead horse about what's what, but in the end, the show's the show, and what people are going to probably continue to talk about was the way more than anything else is the fun parts of the damn race. It's cool that y'all got it done and put on, and like everybody's putting on there, man. Just whenever you because I've felt it before, like whenever you come back down a return road and you're standing in a car that maybe you're driving, especially in our front motor cars, that people, it makes the hair on my arm stand up. Like, I mean, it does. Like I start getting all, just like, let's go again, and man, they're yelling at you and stuff. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever been involved in whenever it comes to, fan interaction coming like that, man. It's cool that y'all are doing that.
Yeah, it's a blast. And our other two feature events each year, they bring about last year the big one was the Fox Hunt. We brought Disco Dean and Bodie out to grudge race the West Coast Outlaw cars. And the crowd is just under half of what we have at Cool April Drags. But we can get some good crowds out there outside of Cool April Drags. But that one, there's people coming from half the country sometimes to Redding. That week-long car show just gets everybody pumped up, and then they stay, and everybody shows up at the racetrack. So heck, one of the guys from Bering Sea Gold was there last year, and my wife was selling T-shirts at the T-shirt booth, and she's like, man, I recognize you. And he goes, yeah, this is my name, and I'm on the Bering Sea Gold. I'm a gold dredger in the Bering Sea. And she's like, oh, Jesse watches that show all the time. And he's, yeah, I've known of this track. I heard this race is going to be big, and I don't live that far away, and I had to come down to it. So it's really strange how you see people that have heard about it. You know what I mean? And then,
right.
And then all the reality shows and all the celebrities out there these days. It's cool when you see one show up at your racetrack.
And you're a really busy man. You would text me the other day, you're on many shows trying to promote many events, and another event coming up, I think in the fall, is a really cool dragger drive event that's be happening at Redding Motorsports Park. Kind of fill us in on that right there.
Yeah, that's the Redwood Rally. So when we took over the racetrack, I wanted to do a drag and drive event. I thought it'd be really cool to do one. I've been to one in Australia. I competed in one there. And then last year, you had Sporty on. I went to Bandimere last year during Rocky Mountain Race Week, but not for Rocky Mountain Race Week. I went and picked up my rotator that we bought from them. We bought a brand new rotator from Bandimere. And it's so we've got a Bandimere rotator there at the race at Redding. And that was during Rocky Mountain. And I really decided I'm going to do this. So I needed a little bit different style help. I can't do it all myself. I'm busy enough as it is. So Heather Nichols used to be the photographer at Redding Dragstrip, and she's really good with social media, and she's really good with website design and graphic design and stuff. So I said, Heather, are you interested in jumping on board with this drag and drive? And she talked to her husband, Jared, about it, and they're all in. So we're 50-50 on the drag and drive. We weren't sure what it was going to do. When we opened up registration, we filled up 150 spots in like 10 minutes. So, I mean, that's all we were doing is 150. So we sold it out like that. We got a couple more sponsors that came in after that, and it's really cool. It goes from Redding to Samoa Dragstrip, Coos Bay Speedway, Medford Dragstrip, and then back to Redding. That's September 26th through 30th. So that's a 5-day race, 700-mile route, and people are really starting to see what's up with the route. It's the most beautiful drag and drive route you can imagine. It's the best, nicest, cleanest, coolest one in existence. So we actually signed up for PRI. We're going to have a booth in PRI this year promoting the Redwood Rally. So when we run in September, she'll get all of her graphic stuff put together, and we'll get, handouts and flyers, and we'll get all of our PR stuff together for PRI in December so we can really sell it hard next year. We limited the car count this year because I want to make sure the racers get the best experience we can give them. Our waiting list is like 130 people deep. I could probably add another 100 entries like that, but it's not about just bringing the money in. It's giving the racers the best experience we can.
And with the drag and drive crowd, and obviously it's all drag racing, but this crowd for this show is probably a little different. Just kind of fill everybody in what exactly drag and drive is. I know what it is, but just kind of tell us what the dynamics is of a drag and drive race.
Sure. Well, one of the things that made the drag and drive so popular is, especially with younger people these days, a drag and drive, you have to take your race car to the first track. You can take it on a truck and trailer, and then you unload it, and the truck and trailer will go into an impound for the week. And then you take your race car, which is, it's got to be street legal. It's got to be registered, insured. It's got to have tail lights, brake lights, all the normal stuff to drive on the street. You make your runs that day. You submit your time slips to us. We record them. Then you can head on to the next track. You drive to the next racetrack that night. You can stay at the track or hotel or whatever. The next morning, you check in, make your runs at that track. But you have to drive your competition vehicle from track to track to track all the way through the route. We have route sponsors, pit stop sponsors, where you have to stop at their facility, take a selfie with your race car and their logo in the background. And then when you get to the next track and you turn in your time slips for the day, you have to show us your photograph to say, look, this is me and I drove the route and there's my picture. If somebody forgets that, they either need to turn around and drive back and get that photo, or they're disqualified from the event. So Rocky Mountain Race Week, that one's crazy. That one's there's one drive on that one. It's 18 hours from one racetrack to the next.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
Our route is 700 miles. It's basically 3.5 hours from track 1 to track 2, 3.5 hours from track 2 to track 3, 2.5 or 3 from 3 to 4, and then another 2.5 from 4 back to Redding. So it's really got a good 3.5 hour average. It's not putting too much stress on stuff. It's a really nice ride. But one of the things that make it so appealing to people these days is you don't have to have a $80,000 dually, a $40,000 trailer, a place to park a dually and a trailer. You don't have to have all that. You put a little trailer behind your race car or your competition vehicle. All of your tools, parts, everything have to be in your vehicle. You can't have people following you around, hauling parts or whatever. We've got mobile car lift guy sponsored coming along. He's going to have a lift available all 5 days, 24 hours a day. He's available. And it's cool. There's so many people that are on board with this deal. And back, I think about 6 years ago, there was 3 drag and drives in the whole country. It was Rocky Mountain and Drag Week and one other little one. Now Tom Bailey has Sick Week. He's going to do Death Week in California. He's got another one. There's 18 drag and drives this year in the United States. So just in the handful of years, it went from 3 to 18. And like I said, the popularity of it really comes from people not having to have $100,000 worth of support stuff to go race their car at multi-day events.
And
Awesome.
my buddy, Monday Morning Racer Lee Craft, he's worked, drag and drive events. I think it was Drag Week he did. Les Mayhew, Nitro America, friend of the show, he's worked those type of events as well. Just great, great type of deal. I know Richie Crampton, top field driver, has done it. Larry Dixon, he does it. A lot of big time NHRA guys do drag and drive events. So really cool deal. And I got to make it out to one sometime. And maybe I'll come up there to Redding in the fall.
I mean, if you can make it to that one, any media people that want to get on board, they can email us at lcredwoodrally.com, or you can text me. You guys got my number. Any media people that have a strong media presence or fun, cool, hang out, we're giving you guys free passes. So if you want to come out and you want to do the route and run it, come on and do the media thing and have a good time with us. We got We got discounted hotel rooms. We got all kinds of cool stuff going on. And it's going to be a 5-day party from track to track to track.
Let everybody know the dates again.
September 26th through 30th. Starts in Redding, ends in Redding, and registration check-in opens on Monday, September 25th. If somebody can't make it on the 25th, then they can show up on the 26th. We have a vagabond package is what we're calling it. The vagabond theme kind of fits that Northwest vibe. You can have a motorhome or a truck and trailer or whatever you want. It could be a passenger car, up to 4 people in it for $250 flat rate price. You're part of the entire event. You're just not competing in the race portion of it. And I think Rocky Mountain, they call them race weekers. They do the exact same thing. You see, Brian Hall wants to bring the 34.
I was literally about to say that. Hall, you better get that 34 ready, baby.
I don't know if Brian still has that old Winnebago square box Winnebago, but to haul that 34 behind the Winnebago and then cruise through town day to day, that'd be pretty cool too.
Hell yeah.
And we have a comment real quick from the Mystic. He says, "Is that Redding, Pennsylvania?" So no, that's Redding, California, which is Northern California. Yeah. So
But,
I feel like, Darren, that our audience has really gotten across the United States a little bit.
you think we're nationwide, man? We're nationwide now.
I mean, I wonder how many. Is anybody out there from like Great Britain or Australia or England or anything? I wonder if there's anybody watching that deal right now. That'd be kind of cool.
I'll tell you what. On my national event recap show, which streams live here on Competition Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, when I recap the big national events, we have people from Australia, Colombia, everywhere, all across the world that come and watch the show. So we're nationwide, worldwide. There's a lot of people, drag racing fans everywhere.
Well, I posted the links. On Facebook, and I've got so many Australian friends, my mates over there. They're so good, and most of them are on the eastern side. So Gold Coast, Brisbane, Toowoomba, Sydney, Melbourne. I got a ton of friends over there. So I'll bet you there's some Aussies watching right now.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah. I know there's one Aussie in California, though. He's probably sitting there having a toddy right now, just waiting to say something, horrible or something. But no, man, I'm glad everything, went the way that it did. Everybody was safe after, that's the main thing. And, it had a big turnout, man. You can't have a successful, race without having a big turnout. And it was, thank you to all them fans that made it, man. I'm proud of y'all for getting out there and supporting this track, man. We need more of that, all we can get.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, I just want to make sure I thank Tony Trimp. He's my business partner. We do Redding Dragstrip together. We do TNA Race Club together. And then, so Tony and his wife, Jennifer, they work real hard in their office at home. I work in my office at home, and we spend a lot of nights up there. And Tony's 3 hours from Redding. I'm 2 hours from Redding. So we work hard up there. All the track staff from Marty and Kenny that work on the starting line. Casey's 18-year-old girl that works for us. We got so many compliments this weekend. And I keep telling her, and you guys tell her too.
My cats are fighting.
18-year-old girl in a man's world, right? And she works her butt off. She does such a really good job of working hard for us. And she just needs to learn how to tell a man, no, this is my territory. I keep telling her, stand up for yourself. And she's doing really good at it. She gets so many compliments out there. We got Marty and Kenny and Kennerson. He's the Marine Bulldog that rips doors off race cars now. Kristen and Courtney and the Tower crew. We had Eric Arnett, Logan Pagano and Nick Bublitz. We had them up at the Tower this weekend. Tower ran smooth. I barely had to go up there at all. Then we got some good gate crew out there. Some of our family members work in gate crew, Justin and Jessica Miller. They helped out with everything. They did 50-50 drawings for the junior dragster families to where they can send our Redding junior dragster team to Vegas for the Division 7 junior ET finals. So both nights they did 50-50 drawings. They raised like $1,200 a night, and the winners of each drawing donated the money back.
That's awesome.
That's like $2,400 just for Team Redding juniors to distribute amongst all the kids that go racing down in Vegas. So we got a lot of people that really help us out. Cole does our track prep. He's good. He's still learning, and he's good, and I'm sure I'll forget somebody, but I don't want to forget them. If I forgot you, I didn't mean to.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for all them folks that helped out working out there at Redding, man. I'm sure it was some definite long days and nights that went on there and way to hang in there.
So I was in Australia with No Prep Kings for 34 days, right? I came home. I was home for 2 days, went to Sacramento Raceway for a TNA bracket race. Came home for a day or two, was in Redding for something else. I felt like in the last month since I've been back from Australia, I feel like I've been farther from home while I'm home. Because it's just been nonstop. Go, go, go. At least in Australia, I can kind of sit down and decompress a little bit at night. Yeah, this last month has been just brutal.
Well, take a few days off, man. Have a beer, get you a hamburger, get ready, because I'm sure it's going to be busy as hell here before too long.
It is, and hot. You know, Redding, 116 degrees last year was the hottest day of the year. Ooh. It gets hot up there, so we shut it down in July and August and only do night racing.
And good luck. Hey, good luck to the Heritage guys, man, that are going to be racing up there. Group 1, 2, and 3. You know, the A-Fuel cars, man. Yo, get up there and lay it down. You know, show them what this track's all about.
Are you going to be in Boise for Nightfire?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I've committed to another race, and you know, early on in the deal, but I had a great time last year. New family, freaking phenomenal, man. Connor, John, and all the dudes, man. I got to hang out inside the hamburger joint there at the deal and eat ice cream and drink some beers and bullshit. They just thought it was cool. Some dude from Texas just drove all the way up there to go racing. So great. I hate that that's going to happen, but I did make some commitments on another race, but plan on making it again.
I'll be there this year. It's one of those deals where I don't get to race close to home anymore. So I look forward to going traveling, my truck, my trailer, myself, and just go race for a few days. It's the best. It's the best therapy.
I'm going to tell you, best staging lanes I've ever been in is at that track. Best staging lanes, man.
They
like you're sitting right here and everybody's right here reaching over there talking to you. I mean, I was like I think I actually got told by some of my crew members, hey, man, you know, we're racing. Like, you need to start concentrating on what's going on.
Well, it's cool. It's 2 small town tracks, right? They've got the best staging lanes and we've got the best return road.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, awesome. You got anything, Derek?
No, that's about it, man. Jesse, thanks for coming on the show, and keep up the great work, man. Doing a great job.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Jesse. Take care.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Man.
I'm gonna have to get on there and edit that commercial. You know that's gonna happen. Like, you're gonna have to send that to me. I'm gonna have to fix something about all that business, dude. No.
All right.
I love it.
Next show, I'll play the Power Build Tools commercial. All right. Power Build Tools.
Oh my God. I'm glad you said that. So I've got to, before a guy gets fired from his job and everything that's going on, Titan Speed Engineering wants a commercial on this show. So I got to get the information to him, let him know, you got to tell me how all this works, you know, because he said he's going to lose his ride to Denver if he doesn't get it figured out. So everybody get out there, take a look at Titan Speed Engineering's website, webpage, Facebook, Instagram. I don't even know what else they got out there, but great dude, Sean Van Horn, you know, him and his wife own and make that business going. You're not going to hear me plug a whole lot of stuff, but I got to do this one. So let's have some fun with it.
So question, who's making this commercial?
I don't know. You got to do it.
That's what I'm asking. I want to do it. That's what I'm asking.
Like he wants you to make the commercial, have it on the show. He just, you know, and I'll get y'all in touch. But I've been a little bit busy, preoccupied with trying to get my damn car done. You know, so if I haven't answered all messages or anything out there, folks, it's just I'm behind the 8 ball right now trying to make some stuff happen. But yeah, exciting show, man. That was cool. That was it's cool to hear from everybody and what's going on, man. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on with the Redding deal and how they evolve. I'm sure it's a big, huge evolving deal, and I know that Jesse and Tony had some really good conversations with the racers and about what was what and kind of moving forward. So it'll be fine. I mean, hell.
Man, you could tell Jesse, like, passionate. He's a racer himself, so he knows what the racer wants and what the racer needs and what the fans want and stuff like that. So I really do respect him, and he does a great job running that racetrack along with his partner Tony Trimp. And then also, like, I mean, dude, like, I'm just a kid from Ingle, California, to have the Bandimere on the show. Like, I mean, that's like, I can't even, like, that's crazy. So I mean, just thank you to John Bandimere for coming on, taking time out of his busy schedule to come on Kings of the Sport. I mean, that's just freaking awesome. So also, before we get out of here though, I want to give a get well soon to editor-in-chief and owner of CompetitionPlus.com. The only reason why we're even streaming live on Competition Plus right now is because of Bobby Bennett. I want to give a get well soon to Bobby Bennett. He had an accident in Charlotte this past weekend out at the 4Y Nationals. And so he's at home resting. A pretty bad deal, but he's coming along well. And I just want to give a good old get well soon to Bobby Bennett because pretty scary accident, but he'll be fine. So I just want to give a get well soon to him.
Absolutely, man. I read a little bit about that just, I think maybe a couple of days ago, and I was like, holy cow, man, it's just crazy. But I mean, dang, man, you just never know, right? Like it's always so. But looks like everything's probably going to be all right. And just, he's thanks for giving us this platform, dude, to let us hang out here and talk about what we talk about. So definitely get well, and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone. He's doing real well. He's resting up. Still working, though. Still working, getting the news out for all the drag racing fans out there. So doing it big time.
Oh, man, cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited, dude. This, Les is going to be out there at the race. He'll be out there. So hopefully we'll get some good video and, got some other folks.
Dude,
what you got?
So Brian Hall, I'm sorry about your Sacramento Kings, man. They were up 2-0 against the Warriors, and the Warriors came back, beat them in Game 7. I'm sorry. So, hey, my Lakers are still in it. So, hey. The Kings couldn't beat the Warriors, but my Lakers will beat the Warriors for you. So that's how we'll do it. All right. So
there you go. It's so funny that this is just continuing on. This has been going on for like a month now, I think, maybe a little bit long, like 3 episodes. So sad. Oh my God. Well, hey man, just, thank everybody for watching the show. Good luck to all the Nitro Chaos guys, safe travels. If you're traveling, tomorrow, I know that some of the guys made it today and, looking forward to, we can talk about other people, like their streaming deal, right? Like they're streaming that, talk about Flow Racing, right? Can we bring that up? Yeah. 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 I don't want to get no bind on on our show.
Hey, that's how I write the recaps for Nitro Chaos. I write the recaps for Competition Plus, and I watch on Flow, so it's all good. Yeah.
There you go. Well, check it out on Flow Racing, man. See what's going on. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on out there. Megan Meyer's going to be out there racing, right? The A-Fuel car.
Yeah. Megan Meyer will be there. You cannot let Megan Meyer come out of retirement first race and win. You can't let it happen.
Let's go. Oh, man, them boys are gonna have to turn it up, baby. They're gonna have to turn it up. I'm interested to see what old Wheeler does, man. They've done put a lot of work and effort into that half track racing car. So it'll be it'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, well, I brought it up to Legos too. I was like, go have fun with your half track race. And then I said, no, man, for real, good luck, man. So I'm excited for the guys. I'm ready to, I'll turn it on while I'm down there wrenching on my car. Like, and then I'll send you a video of me firing it up. It's going to happen this weekend.
Sounds good. All
right, buddy. Sounds good.
All right. Well, I think we got to get Wheeler on the next show as well. He's a supporter of the show and stuff like that. We got to get Wheeler on next. But thank you guys all for tuning in to episode 11 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., along with the West Texas hustler, Michael Anderson. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
See ya.